Hello, thank you for joining me today. My name is Lynne Fahey and my blog is called spiralsandcurls.blogspot.com, and today I'd like to share with you a really quick and simple background technique using the Stampin Up clear acrylic block size E, a stamping spritzer with some plain tap water and some marker pens, and these are the 2012-2014 in colours, and you will need a piece of Whisper White cardstock as well. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start with the marker pen, using the lightest colour first, and the marker pen end, and I'm going to be scribbling onto the clear block, and then that was the summer star fruit. This is the gumball green, and I'm going to turn the block around, and with the primrose petals, excuse me, I'm going to be putting that colour down. You really don't need to be precise at all, or precious, and this is the raspberry ripple, which is the darkest colour. Turn it round, oops, and with your stamping spritzer, we're just literally spraying it with some tap water, bringing in our cardstock, flipping it over, and then pressing it down onto your cardstock, and this is where the magic happens. If I come in a little bit closer, you'll be able to see the water soaking in, and it's like a rippling effect. And as soon as it's stopped rippling, which it almost has now, remove your block. It's completely dry, completely clean, and that is your background technique, and it really is as quick and simple as that. Now it will dry lighter, and it is still wet at the moment, so you'll need to set that aside before you start stamping on it. Otherwise, if you try and stamp on it now, the moisture will make the ink bleed into the background, so you really do need to leave it and set it aside till it's dry, and then you can start stamping on it. And in true Blue Peter fashion, here's one I prepared earlier. So this is using the My Friend stamp set, and I've inked it up, the background and the hello, using the gumball green, and all you'd need to do is just trim it up, mat it onto the front of a card, and you really, that's as simple as it gets. So it really is a quick and simple technique. So let's move on to the next technique, which is using the ink pads, and I'm using So Saffron, Chocolate Chip and Soft Suede. The clear block, the stamping spritzer, and I'm going to be using some very vanilla cardstock. So using my lightest colour again first, which is So Saffron, I'm just going to tap onto my block the So Saffron, turn the block around using the next colour, which is Soft Suede, marking it up onto the block, and then with the darkest colour, which is the Chocolate Chip, I'm just adding a small amount on the bottom because it will come out dark, so that's that last colour. With my stamping spritzer and my water, just adding the water to it, bringing in my Very Vanilla, flipping the block over, pressing in, and again that's starting to ripple already. If I come in a little bit closer, you can see it absorbing into the cardstock, so that's literally just the ink soaking in. Once it's done, which it almost is now, we can remove the block from the paper. Yep, and it's completely dry, completely clean, and every single one will turn out different, and again you'll need to leave this to dry, and they do dry lighter, and in true Blue Peter fashion, once again, here's one I prepared earlier. So this is using the Serene Silhouette stamp set, because it just reminded me of an African sunset. So and I really like this one. Just trim it up, again pop it on the front of a card and add a bit of twine, maybe a manly button or something, and it really is really quick and simple. I know I keep saying it, but it really is. Okay, so this is the background using the marker pens, and this is So Saffron, More Mustard, Sahara Sand and Chocolate Chip. Now using the marker pens, it's really quite a subtle technique, so it's not it's very, very subtle. Using the ink pads, the same colours, the juicy ink pads that Stampin' Up do, you can see the difference between the two, but they are exactly the same colours, but one's using the marker pens and one's using the juicy ink pads, so you can see the difference in them. Okay, and moving on to the very last technique that I want to share with you. Again, the same block, Stampin' Spritz of water, and we're going to be using the Reinkers this time. We're going to be using Tempting Turquoise and the Island Indigo, and when your ink pads actually come, they'll come in a cellophane wrapper. If you save it, I'll show you what we're going to do, because we're going to be using it for this technique, and we will probably get a little bit inky, but that's okay, and some Whisper White cardstock. So using the lightest colour again first, I'm just adding, let me just bring that in a little bit closer, just adding a few drops of the Tempting Turquoise, and then with the Island Indigo I shall be adding some more blobs, scrunching up my cellophane and just distributing the ink all over my block. And you really don't need to be an artist to do this. Every single one turns out differently, but I just wanted to distribute the ink over the pad. Spritz the water and then bring in my cardstock, flip it over, push it down, and that's already absorbed into the cardstock. Take my block off. It's a little bit wet around the edge, but on the actual block itself it's not. And that is such a moody effect. It's very stippled, and that's what really gave me the idea to use the stamp set called Open Sea, because it really did look like a stormy sea, a stormy sky. And again, in true Blue Peter fashion, here's one I prepared earlier. So this was the stamp set Open Sea that I was talking about. Tempting Turquoise is the background on the top, and the Island Indigo is the sea. I've stamped the ship in Midnight Muse, and I've stamped the background world map and the compass in Crumb Cake. I've added a little bit of the twine and some wooden buttons, and I've also stamped the inside so it's not a complete blank card. And I really, really love this idea. And again, using similar Pool Party, Island Indigo and Night of Navy, I've actually made this card with the serene silhouettes again. I really, really like the way that this has turned out. It could be a sympathy card, it could be anything really. And again, I've just simply stamped in Crumb Cake on the inside. This was my very, very first attempt at doing the background. I've used the marker pens and I realised that it's come out quite stripy, and that's because I hadn't actually spritzed it with enough water. So I really didn't like this layered effect. I wanted it to sort of blend in a little bit more. And I've just got a few samples I'd like to share with you. This one's using the Tempting Turquoise and Island Indigo, and I've used the Serene Silhouette stamp set again. This one is the Fabulous Florets, and I've used Wisteria Wonder, Elegant Eggplant and Chocolate Chip, and then I've stamped the background in Early Espresso. This one is Field of Flowers. I've used Crumb Cake for the background here and Chocolate Chip, and then I've stamped this in Crumb Cake and Early Espresso, and then I've just used the sentiment, Imagine the Possibilities. And then this one I absolutely adore. It's the Lovely as a Tree. Again, Crumb Cake, Chocolate Chip background. I stamped using the Early Espresso, Lovely as a Tree. With my aqua painter, I actually softened it, and then with my Stamp-O-Majig, and the early espresso ink again, I stamped over the top just to get the detail back again. But this could be a fantastic Father's Day, you know, or uncle, you know, male birthday card, etc. And then the last one again was using the same crumb cake and chocolate chip, and using the other stamps in the Lovely as a Tree. But really the options are endless, and you know, it's going to make you use stamp sets that perhaps would have stayed on your shelf and not got used because you didn't know how to do you know, how to put them onto card. But using this background, you really don't need to be an artist. It really is quick and simple. I hope you like the 3 techniques, using the marker pens, using the ink pads, and using the reinkers. I really hope that you try this out, and if you have any questions, please let me know. But thank you for watching my very first video that I've ever shot. I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment or send me an email, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.